It's Thursday, March 27th. It's an end of the day SPY recap, and today we end up with a two-down day that held below the midpoint of the prior day, and by the end of the session kind of closed very neutral but still with a red bias. So right now we are still on track to kind of come down on the two-down day and possibly kind of hit these double low targets down here that are in play. On the weekly chart, that means, we have one day to go in the week, so I don't know if we're going to have a very, negative day tomorrow that gets through the midpoint of that bar, and maybe by the end of the day comes all the way down there. If so, if it's a very negative day. If not, we might end up with a shooter bar on the weekly chart by the end of Friday, and if that stays red, then you kind of expect a two down week next week, which would have a target down there. So either way, we'll see what happens either tomorrow or how the day ends. Obviously we could have an up day tomorrow and this whole thing could essentially close, neutral, and then we'll have to see what happens next week. But for now, we're still biased to the downside after yesterday's kind of reversal day, holding below the open of the week at the purple line. And that's what kind of guided today's trading. I shot a video early how, first of all, I expected the lows of the day to be tested from yesterday once I saw the red bar, and you could see it did that right out of the gates here. The pre-market range was between the blue lines. We came down and we took out the low of the previous day. So that was on bar one, but we didn't follow through. So then we had a big green bar on bar two. Now, you could have looked at that and said, okay, we're probably going to come out, we're not getting directional move out of the gates, momentum, so maybe we're going to take out liquidity to the upside. I guess you could have bought that and looked for either this target or that target. I didn't choose to do that. To me, my methodology is when I'm below the midpoint of the prior day, I kind of stay biased that way. If we would have come up strongly above the midpoint of the prior day, then I could have bought the first pullback in case we had a potential, big 3-day to the upside, a reversal day that took out the, low of this bar and then eventually got to the midpoint and took out the high of that bar. But I didn't really, sense that was developing. We're below the open of the week at the purple line. We're below the midpoint of the prior day. So I shot a video early how I was kind of anticipating a green to red move. It developed here. I actually bought puts on the QQQ. I discussed how I, on these two pushes down, was able to take nice gains on the day, and it ends up just a consolidation day overall after a big move down, but still with a negative bias. So, that's the bias was still down, but it didn't get really directional, continuation. We had more of a liquidity grab on the upside before it decided to roll over a little bit to the downside. And that happens sometimes. So just using, my approach, staying below the midpoint of the prior day, looking for liquidity to be taken out, and then, anticipating a little rollover to the downside, that worked out today. We're going to find out tomorrow, where's the pre-market range between the blue lines, how things open and everything else. And that'll guide us to whether or not we really have another down day tomorrow and we end up with a shooter bar for the week, and that leads to lower expectations into next week. So that's kind of what's unfolding here. It is possible we gap up tomorrow, you never know, above the midpoint of that bar and break out and have a 2-up day, and all of a sudden we're above the open of the week again on Friday, and maybe we have a target all the way up here. I can't predict it. This is certainly a neutral looking day, similar to the way this was a neutral day on the upside that reversed down. You never know if a neutral day to downside could reverse up. But my expectation is to head lower, and I'd like to see some kind of price action that gave me that opportunity, because I still sense that these two, until proven otherwise, and that would be with a 2-up day and, another green weekly bar, until that's, until that develops, I'm still biased to the downside. So that was trading today. Again, sticking with the game plan led to some decent short, base hit type of opportunities today and an overall neutral day. And we will see, what unfolds tomorrow to end the week.